Hi there, my name is Ollie Burns and I perform on wrestling shows as Priscilla, Queen of the Ring. And today we're going to be studying email marketing. When you're reaching out to promoters looking for work via email, do you find it difficult knowing what kind of tone to take, what to put in, what to leave out? Well, this is the video for you. I'm going to be looking at some useful hints and tips that will help you have the most professional opening to your emails that should allow you to support the marketing material that you're doing and give you the best chance to use those emails to gain new work within the world of wrestling. Now, first things first, when it comes to emails, you need to be realistic to the kind of response that you're likely to receive. Promoters can receive anything from 10 to 50 emails a day from prospective wrestlers, all looking to show off what they can do and gain work. With that in mind, it's very hard to stand out from the crowd, and you need to be realistic about the fact that most promoters will not give you a booking based off of just one email. Hopefully, it will be comforting to know that this is pretty standard across the world of marketing. And most professional marketeers will tell you that typically it takes 100 emails to receive 2 to 3 good responses. Now, don't let that dishearten you, because email marketing is a vital part of the process when looking to gain future bookings with other promotions. But I think it's always worth bearing in mind that one message is very unlikely to change the earth as far as a promoter is concerned. Just think about it. If you're a promoter, you probably already have a full card stacked with wrestlers, along with a number of trainees that you've been keeping in mind for a long time, waiting for their spot. So one email off a random stranger that they don't know is very unlikely to make them drop all of that and give up one of the opportunities they're currently giving out to one of their roster members to replace them with someone that they're not familiar with. But that does not mean that you shouldn't be reaching out to these promoters via email. In fact, email marketing is a great way of spreading the word about who you are, what you can offer, and give those people those details so they can keep them on hand for future reference. When an opportunity does come up, an email may be the thing that puts you right to the top of the queue. So before jumping into email marketing, just bear in mind that when we talk marketing, we're talking about everything it takes to get the word out about what you offer. Email marketing is one way to support this message so that you're getting that information out in a clean, professional manner so that when promoters see all the other marketing going on social media, YouTube and face-to-face with all your competition, you know that they have a clear reference of exactly what it is you offer so that when they need you, they know that you are a professional who can offer A, B, C and deliver X, Y, Z when that appropriate time comes calling. Now, getting the balance of a good email can be really difficult, and promoters all over the country will be looking for different things when they receive messages. Most don't have a lot of time to read up about somebody that they're not familiar with, so having too much in an email can put them off of reading it in the first place. But as I mentioned earlier, promoters are receiving a ton of messages every single day, so just having a brief sentence can also shoot you in the foot. You would not believe the amount of times that promoters have told me that they receive messages that just say, "Hi, I'm Ollie Burns. If you want to know more, find me on Facebook." And that itself can really cost you future work. The reason for this is because if they don't know who you are and they're receiving 10, 20 messages like this every day, they then have to pick off the base of somebody's name who they're then going to go onto social media and make the effort to search and read up on. And if you're a busy promoter who's trying to market their own company, trying to get the word out about future shows and organise finances, they really don't have the time to be going through 10, 20 different profiles which they have to search for themselves and do all their own homework. Getting the balance is really difficult. However, if you can give them a clean, professional opening, which gives them the basics of what it is you offer, along with some links to social media, to YouTube videos, to recommendations from other promoters, you will be saving them a lot of time. And sure, this won't work every single time, but if you send that message out to 10 promoters, you might find that one of them is really appreciative of receiving that information. The other instances And when this can pay off is when you get the timing just right, and it comes through at a time where they've had somebody drop off, or perhaps they're really struggling to fill a cart and they get your message which clearly explains everything you can offer just when they need that information. That can be a really easy win for you and for them. In fact, most of the bookings I've earned over the years through email marketing have been a case of me sending a message just at the right time. So let's jump in and look at some hints and tips as to how you can make your email marketing work for you. Now, when you're looking to reach out to a promotion, you want to make sure you do your homework before doing so. Never assume that your reputation precedes you, because chances are, as much as you love your work, as much as your colleagues and fellow promoters really rate you, this other person that you're reaching out to may have no idea who you are, or if they do, they may only know your name in passing. So invest a little bit of time to show them that you understand their product and you know that you can fit in properly. If you can do that, then that will make them more inclined to do the same, invest a bit of time, look at what you can offer and see if you really can fit in with what it is that they're trying to sell to their audience. First things first, you want to find the name of the promoter if you can. Now, some wrestling promotions will hide this information for a number of very, very good reasons. But it is worth searching that company on Google, on Facebook, on Twitter to see if you can work out who the promoter is behind the company so that you can send a message directly to the person who makes the decisions. If you have no other option but to send a message through to the Facebook page of the wrestling promotion, then that is fine. But you need to bear in mind that a lot of times these company pages are moderated by people who are not the promoter and therefore are not the people making the final decisions on who does and who doesn't appear on the show. And if you're trying to persuade person A to pass your message on to person B and tell them about them, then that person B will not be able to ask you questions directly and you may not be able to explain things as well as you could do. Instead, you're relying on person A to field your messages through on the Facebook page, decide if you're the best person out of those 20 to then pass on to person B, who may already have had 2 or 3 other people in mind. So if you can find that person B, the promoter, the decision maker, then it is best to send them a message directly. It's also worth learning about the general vibe that the wrestling promotion is putting out. You can do this by looking up their social media, searching for them online. The best way to do it is to go onto YouTube or go and find wrestling footage which those companies are putting out so that you can see how the audience responds, what the audience likes the most, and see how you can fit in with the current wrestling styles that they're putting on. Once you've done that, you'll be ready to reach out to a company. But the question is, exactly what kind of tone do you want to be using in those emails? First things first, polite and professional wins the race every single time. Now, of course, in wrestling, a lot of the work we gain is from having genuine relationships with other colleagues and promoters. And if you haven't already, be sure to check out our videos on face-to-face marketing and word of mouth to see how you can use these personal relationships to gain new work, because this absolutely is the best way to gain future bookings. However, if a promoter does not know who you are and you're looking to reach out to them via email, then it's really important to make sure that you get the tone right. Whether the company draws thousands of fans every year, has a subscription service and pay-per-views, or even if they're a small business with 20 or so wrestling fans coming to each show, I can guarantee you that every wrestling promoter wants to be treated with a level of respect. It takes a lot of hard work to build up a promotion and to make sure that it thrives and continues to make money, as opposed to burning a hole in your pocket. So with that in mind, having an email that shows that you are professional and that you're taking them and yourself seriously gives them the peace of mind to know that if they do give you a booking, that you're not going to just squander it and have a laugh with your mates. It can also come across as a bit disingenuous if you're sending a message and going, "Oh mate, how you doing? Give us a booking, fella." And if a promoter has received 20 of those messages this week and your message is polite and courteous, then you will probably find that you will go to the top of the queue when it comes to them doing their further research. Now, on the other hand, you don't want to come across as trying too hard or being cheesy or just being a little bit unbearable. Now, in the business world, you'd be looking to start a message with "Dear Sir or Madam," "Dear Mr. Manager," "Dear Mrs. CEO." When you're speaking to wrestling promoters, that might come across as a little bit too much. After all, you're going to be getting in underwear, oiling yourself up, and then fake fighting with a bunch of other people. So if you take it too seriously, they might think you're not going to be any fun to work with. So regards to the opening, don't worry too much, but a nice, clean, good afternoon, good morning can really put you in good stead. Before you jump in to a big dialogue about what you like about the company and what you can offer them, be sure to introduce yourself at the start. Nobody wants a huge essay going on about how great you think you are, so instead, just try to explain very simply. For example, I would start my emails saying something along the lines of, "My name is Ollie Burns, I perform as a drag queen wrestling personality, Priscilla, Queen of the Ring." I would then follow up by explaining why I'm sending them the email. You try to give them a quick summary of exactly why you're reaching out to them. This only needs to be one sentence long, so I may be saying that I am currently looking for work and I thought that you and me may be a suitable fit. This sets the tone for the rest of the email. The promoter knows exactly why you're messaging them. You're not making them read a whole lot of information without really knowing why you're contacting them. It may feel like this is obvious. However, if you show the promoter that you value their time by explaining who you are and why you're messaging them, it gives them more of a reason to continue reading. After you've given them a nice, polite opening, you may then want to move on to explaining exactly what it is that you can offer. But I would recommend explaining first why you want to work for them. I try to treat my email marketing as though I'm doing job interviews. And in virtually every job interview you will do in the professional world, the first question that will be asked is, "Why do you want to work for us?" This is where that research really pays off, because you can explain to them why you appreciate the work that they have put in. You don't want to be sucking up, because people want to work with people that they respect. And if you come across as a massive fan of what they do and a little bit of a fanboy, then you could put a promoter off. Because at the end of the day, if they're booking you for a show, you need to be adding something to their product. You are not looking for them to do a favour for you. That's for your training school and their affiliated promotions. Once you're moving past that barrier, you are then looking at what you can offer to these promotions. But at the same time, it's very rare that a promoter wants to work with a wrestler who doesn't really care about their product. So I try to explain one or two reasons why I really admire the kind of work that company is putting out. By doing this, you can also set the tone for the rest of your email. Assuming you've done this research and looked at how your character and your wrestling specifically fits in to what they're offering, you're able to explain at the beginning the things that you like, keeping in mind how you can contribute to those things in the rest of this email. This only needs to be a couple of lines. If you go on with a massive essay, the promoter is very unlikely to read it, and you're probably going to shoot yourself in the foot. So just keep it to a nice couple of lines explaining why it is you're a fan of what they put out. So, you started off with a nice professional opening. You've gone on to explain who you are and why you're messaging. And now you've explained why you like what that company is doing. It is now time to explain how you can fit in with them. Just like the previous portions of this email, you want to be careful not to go on too much. Show the promoter that you respect their time and don't go on and on and on and on and on about what it is that you think makes you so special. Just try to concisely explain exactly how you think you can fit in with that vibe that you're such a fan of. You only really need 2 or 3 sentences to explain exactly what your character does and why that fits in with what the company offers. You only need 2 or 3 sentences to explain exactly what it is you offer to a wrestling show and exactly why that would fit in with the product that the promoter has worked so hard to deliver so far. Provided you've done your homework, you will find that this portion of the email will certainly change promoter to promoter. But taking the time to personalise your emails will really pay off. Promoters can smell a copy and paste job from a mile away. They receive them every day, time and time again. So make sure that you explain concisely exactly what it is that you can offer that is unique but also relevant for the products that they are putting out. If the promoter likes what they see, they're going to respond to you. They're going to start looking at your social media. That will give you more opportunities to give them more information about what you do. So for the time being, just keep it like a nice quick advert so that they can say, that sounds interesting. Sure, maybe I'll ask a few further questions. It is also very important that you follow this up with some proof of what it is that you're offering. Now, we all know people at training schools and at shows who go around saying, yeah mate, I'm amazing. So if you send an email which says, dude, I'm the dog's bollocks, then you're probably competing with 30 to 50 other people who have said the exact same thing this month. And if the promoter has opened 2 or 3 emails from your competition and then gone on to look at their social media and found out that actually no, they're not the dog's bollocks, they're more like dog shit, then they're really not going to be interested in looking at your message when it has the same tone. So if you've explained specific reasons why you in particular fit in with their product and then follow it up with some kind of YouTube link or a link to your social media, then they may be more inclined to say, this person is backing up what they're saying, so I can now have a look and see for myself whether or not what they're saying is actually true and whether or not I want to look at bringing them on to my promotion. With that in mind, it's really useful to make sure that you have some good full match content that you can link them to on social media or perhaps YouTube. Now, I've heard a lot of promoters over time say that they're not interested in watching a match that's longer than 10 minutes. And that's understandable, once again, because they're receiving so many messages. So make sure that you have at least one full-length match on YouTube. And if you're interested in getting more information about how to get your YouTube channel up to scratch and get footage when you're struggling to do so, then be sure to check out other videos on how to manage your YouTube account. But also bear in mind that promoters will be looking for things such as entrances and promos as well. So if you have these on social media or again on YouTube, then try to make sure that you include links to this as well. As I perform very differently when I'm on a family show versus an over 18 show, I like to include multiple links. I also offer very unique entrances, and I feel that that is a big selling point behind the Priscilla character. So I also try to include links to different entrances as well. However, as you can imagine, that then fills up their inbox big time, and it becomes one of those long, lengthy emails that promoters dread receiving and have no interest in opening at all. So I have found a lot of success in having a full portfolio attached to these messages. A portfolio allows you to deliver different forms of information in a much quicker way. It's easy to get through and has links to various matches of different types, along with entrances, promos, and giving them all the information that a promoter may need, may perhaps not have time to ask me. I would recommend putting in the time to put together a portfolio, and if you would like more information on how to do so, then be sure to check out our videos on building portfolios within the marketing section of The Theory of Wrestling. Now that you've reached the end of your email, you're going to want to sign off in a clean, professional manner. Bear in mind that promoters are receiving messages all the time, so you can't expect this email to win them over bish bash boom. With that in mind, it's useful to have a nice, friendly ending that says something along the lines of, if you'd like more information, I have loads more to give you, I just didn't want to take up too much of your time. That way, they know that what they're getting isn't the full story, but you've once again taken the time to appreciate their time management and try to make their lives a little bit easier. It also leaves the door open so that when they do want more information, they feel comfortable reaching back to you. If you've ended the email saying, I want a booking now, then if they don't have that available spot, they may decide they don't want to reach out to you at all because they may be concerned about how that message will be received and wouldn't necessarily want to get into an argument, but chances are the time when you send it just isn't going to be the right time. So try to keep that ending of the message nice and friendly, nice and open so that promoters can reach back to you when it works for them. There is much debate about how to sign off an email. Yours faithfully, yours sincerely, kindest, dearest regards. And once again, just like all marketing, there is no right or wrong answer, to be honest. But I've always found that a nice and simple, thanks for your time, all the best, generally goes down very well. Just make sure that the name you use to sign off at the end of the email is something friendly. It may shock you to know that my real name is actually Oliver, but I always end my emails, and whenever I speak to people in the wrestling community, I always use the name Ollie. This gives a little bit of familiarity, and it means that you're not speaking to me as though you're a boss or my parents, you're actually my friend. It also works using gimmick names or some kind of friendly term that your friends use. Just don't worry too much about it, but just make sure it's friendly. You should find that that leaves a nice, pleasant taste in the mouth of the reader of your email. So the email itself has a nice good afternoon. I am X and I'm contacting you because I want to look at potentially working with you in the future. These are the reasons why I would like to work with you. These are the reasons why I think I would be a good fit. Here are links to more information. And then, I really appreciate your time. Many thanks. Yada yada. That's a nice, clean, professional email that you can send out to different companies. You will have to rewrite it for each business, but at the same time, personalization is key, and people do appreciate you taking the time to do the research and explain why you work for them. One thing you want to be really careful about is not oversaturating these messages by sending these messages once a month, every month to promoters, because once again, if it's not the right time when they receive the message, then they don't necessarily want to be bombarded with more and more emails just like it as you get more and more tense because they don't have time to respond. So as a good way of keeping a track of these emails, try to put together some kind of spreadsheet. I have a spreadsheet with over 130 wrestling companies on it. Next to each of these companies, I have the names of the top level people that I've been able to get in contact with, along with their contact details. I find that this is a useful way of not losing the information that I have taken time to research and find. I've also included further columns. This includes a column of notes so that when I do receive a response, I'm able to record them in this spreadsheet. I also track the last time I contacted them and whether or not they're looking to be contacted again in the future. This gives me an idea of where it's worth concentrating my efforts on moving forwards. I also find that this is a great way of stopping myself from accidentally contacting multiple people within the same promotion. If I see a production manager for a certain company looking for wrestlers and I think, oh, I'll send him a message, I will check this list beforehand to make sure that I haven't already spoken to the promoter or the booker who has maybe said in 6 months' time, I want to hear more from you. It is very easy to shoot yourself in the foot and contact multiple people within the same promotion who then start having conversations, and it begins to sound as though you're trying to manipulate them, pushing them one against the other. Now I know, you know, and to be fair, even they probably know that at the end of the day, you're probably just trying to put your best foot forwards. But I have certainly lost work before because it feels as though I'm coming across as overly keen. So having this spreadsheet is a great way to see where I've got myself to with each company so that I can make sure that I have the best contact strategy moving ahead. Now bear in mind, when it comes to email marketing, it is just one part of the marketing process. And if you're on top of your social media, if you have a good face-to-face relationships, and if you have a strong YouTube channel with plenty of footage coming out, that can only be more ticks in the boxes of the people who are watching your footage come through. So be sure to check out other videos on different marketing methods that you can use to get the word out about what it is you offer and give you the best chance in getting more work in the wrestling business. And in the meantime, if you feel as though we have missed something that's really useful, please do leave a comment below and ask any questions you may have so that we can get the discussion going and start involving as many minds as possible as we discover the theory of wrestling together. Thanks for studying with me today. I have been Ollie Burns. Be sure to subscribe for future content so that you can continue to study the theory of wrestling.